word to wise. Grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple light.
Before we get started, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click. Before we jump into today's video, I wanted to talk to you real quick about a website called Juaso Graphics. It's a really awesome website. You can find all sorts of clothes and other items themed after some of your favorite animes like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, My Hero Academia, but with a little bit of Blerd seasoning on it. Not only that, you can get 10% off your entire purchase if you use the promo code Blerd Without Fear. So go check out the website, get some awesome apparel, and let them know the Blerd Without Fear sent you. What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd Without Fear. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so I know we've been doing a lot of talk about Maximum Carnage and some of these other videos that I do, but today, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a break. Let's talk about Al Ewing and Joe Bennett's Immortal Hulk, Volume 4. Abomination. And just for clarity, this is going to cover Immortal Hulk issues number 16 through 20. And more importantly, in this video, we are going to be talking about the whereabouts of Rick Jone after the disappearance of his corpse, the fate of Betty Ross after Immortal Hulk Volume 3, Hulk in Hell, Jackie McGee facing the reality and horror that surrounds her, the future of the Immortal Hulk, and the horrifying return of the Abomination. So since the disappearance of Rick Jones's corpse, Doc Samson and Hulk have been trying to track down the body. You see, Gamma Mutates have been having a hard time staying dead lately. Did he come back to life? Did someone take him? We don't know yet. The one thing we do know is that Bruce Banner feels that he owes Rick. The way he sees it, it's his fault that Rick Jone was executed by Hydra Cap during Secret Empire, and he even laments the idea that Hydra Cap used the Hulk as a weapon. He owes his friend this much. He never got the chance to say goodbye to him, living or dead, and he's going to make up for that. Banner is breaking, cracking, and Samson can see it, but Banner don't got time to cry, because Hulk is reclaiming his time. They track down General Fordian's shadow base, the one Hulk busted out of during Immortal Hulk Volume 2, The Green Door. And when they bust into this L7 square, Hulk realizes that this was a trap. This was deliberate. Fordian left gamma mutated animals to distract them. And kind of within all this, and this really has nothing to do with nothing, but I really love the knock on Batman here. It's just too sweet. Anyways, this was a setup to something bigger. Well, maybe not bigger, but maybe something low-key deadly, and that's Bushwhacker. Still feeling tight about being dragged into the hellscape that is beyond the Green Door, and in a shadow base, armed with UV radiation and visible light as far as the eye can see, it's more than enough to undo the Immortal Hulk's transformation, making Banner more than mortal enough to kill permanently. As long as they keep the light shining on him. And without an Immortal Hulk in the room, that leaves Samson as the only heavy in the base, but even he's not heavy enough to no-sell a bullet straight to the brain pan. Something I thought was weird considering he's withstood high-caliber bullet fire before, but it seems this light mixture Bushwhacker is using also affects him too. We'll just go with that. Long story short, he's not dead. He's gonna pop back up later, so don't worry about that. But Banner, on the other hand, is vulnerable and he is gut shot. He's on borrowed time inside the shadow base that is not so shadowy anymore. And with a trained assassin with the ability to make guns on the fly in his midst, Banner needs all the help that he can get. Good thing that the Mac is back, baby. Joe FixIt. Joe FixIt, the Grey Hulk, has returned, but not in the way you may be thinking. It's just the persona of Joe FixIt, taking over Bruce's body, almost like a self-preservation mode. You see, Devil Hulk is the one in charge, and since he can't be in the fight right now, and he wants to keep Banner alive against all odds, he decided to take Joe off the bench and give him some minutes. Because at the end of the day, Joe is a lot more clever and resourceful than the Bruce Banner Bushwhacker was originally hunting. This is a Joe FixIt who doesn't mind breaking the glass. grabbing a fistful of radioactive ants and throwing them right into Bushwhacker's eye holes. But even Joe is allowed a misstep or two, because he's in a body that isn't gray and hulked up. He's in Banner's puny science nerd man body. Punching Bushwhacker, a cyborg with high-grade plastic skin and bone, is arguably not the brightest move, but kicking him in the dick? Yeah, those ain't plastic. You see, Joe FixIt, for those unfamiliar, is a Hulk with similar strength levels to the Savage Hulk, well, depending on who the writer is at the time. Albeit he's more intelligent, therefore yes, he does get stronger the angrier he gets, but it takes a lot longer since his higher intelligence means he can maintain control better than the Savage Hulk can. Because he's savage. He's not a brain exactly like Bruce. I mean, he is intelligent and he does understand and is able to execute scientific thinking, but he's streetwise. He can match Banner's scientific mind with an equal level of wit and street smarts. He's also not opposed to the Eddie Guerrero mantra of lie, cheat, and steal, and if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And thanks to a design flaw in the shadow base, that being a fish tank next to a secure, locked door that one could just simply break and then walk around the door, wow, work-life synergy is really not a replacement for efficiency sometimes. And now that 40 realizes Joe FixIt is in the building, he uses Joe's weakness against him, turning up the light to extreme levels. But since this isn't FixIt's body, but Banner's, it's kind of a moot point. And remember how I said Joe was the more street-smart Banner? He's smart enough under fire to use someone's sticky notepad to figure out the password to unlock the base's lights, but not to turn them off. It's a setup. Bushwhacker has enough time to get the strap and lay Banner out like carpet, but Joe isn't out of the game yet. Bushwhacker thinks it's over, but it's far from over, Daddy. It ain't ever gonna be over. I said it ain't ever gonna be over. Because you see, Joe set the lights to switch to gamma. The gamma light is putting the HHIC back in the game, and remember what Immortal Hulk did to that one scientist, Dr. Clive, back in Immortal Hulk Volume 2, The Green Door? Yeah, he does the exact same thing to Bushwhacker. As he transforms back into the Hulk, he absorbs the would-be assassin, effectively eating him. Not only that, but the gamma base has been 1000% irradiated, as Hulk has unleashed all of it across the mountain base, rendering it useless to General Fordian. And now the General Fordian has lost not just one, not just two, but 3 assets in this war to take down the Immortal Hulk. Since this whole thing started in the first place, it's time for a new challenger to step in the arena and break the walls down. Bushwhacker was a sadist, a merciless torturer, and a D-bag. To be sure, Fordian needs something so inhuman that there's no room left for human error. An abomination. A creature who barely speaks, he's a hulking monster and the stuff of nightmares. He's also an excellent tracker, and he tracks down Joe FixIt, who's been laying low in Nevada and has reverted back to being Bruce Banner now that Devil Hulk is back in the driver's seat, and he's a monster on a mission, killing indiscriminately and only saying one word: Hulk. Or more like, or something along those lines. I'm sure someone will correct me on the pronunciation. And while Banner is trying to make a roll call of all the various versions of the Hulk who live rent-free inside his cranium, we get a little nod towards Hulk's most dangerous persona when he's trying to come up with a better name for Devil Hulk: Maestro. Only Banner doesn't finish it. He's thinking about it up until a point when he's distracted. And the reason why this is interesting is because Maestro is the Hulk of the future who honestly doesn't seem too far off the mark. Anyways, the Abomination, killing and eating anything in his wake, is ready for the Immortal One to sit down in his chair, because the barbershop is open. And best believe, Abomination's clippers stay on. His razor-sharp claws can rend the flesh off of the Devil Hulk's body, and it can take a Hulk-sized punch without so much as batting an eyelash, if it had any. And Hulk thinks that he knows who this is. He thinks it's the Abomination he's always fought. He thinks this is Emil Blonsky. But in truth, it's far from it. This isn't Emil Blonsky resurrected and returned for his 80 millionth rubber match with the Immortal One. He's dead. For now. It's not until Hulk gets right in this new player's face that he realizes who it really is. Rick Jones. His corpse was dug up by General Fortian's team and was manipulated with the gamma mutate blood and tissue from the original Abomination, Emil Blonsky. This revived him, but they weren't done there. They stripped him of any humanity within him throughout his mutation. And this is something that's really interesting to kind of read through, because throughout this book, we get to kind of see a little bit of a taste in the earlier parts of Rick Jones's innermost thoughts regarding the first time he ever met the Hulk and how horrifying it was. But I won't get into that here, because there's fighting going on. Right now, General Fortian has front row seats to Hulk taking a fistful of L's. You see, Abomination can't be fought with brute force the way Hulk would normally like to. Abomination's face, or mouth, or whatever, doubles as a pair of hands and can easily catch Hulk's punches, and he's able to vomit up his own stomach acids that are powerful enough to melt Hulk's hand all the way down to the bone. And this acid is powerful enough that Hulk cannot heal this damage at all. And may I also point out that it is so unsettling to watch the two faces, one constantly saying help me and the other one saying kill you. Just it's the stuff of nightmares. Joe Bennett, you wrong for this. I can't sleep now. I feel like I should sue. I'm not going to sue, but I'm just saying. But before we dig into what's up with the Abomination, I want to backpedal a little bit. Trust me, we're getting there. Just trust me, this is equally as important. So, Jackie McGee, she of award-winning journalism, has been in a rough state of mind since her travels with the Immortal One. I mean, going to gamma hell will have that effect on anyone. That said, she's digging into Rick Jones's autobiography, hoping to find something out about the man who was the first one to ever meet the Hulk. It may actually give her some clues, but her boss thinks it's not the story to follow, which is funny, because this is exactly what one maybe should be following, because, you know, Rick Jones is the Abomination. But anyways, he wants bigger and better. She broke the Hulk story, revealing that Bruce Banner was indeed still alive. She got the exclusive interview with Captain Marvel and Alpha Flight. He wants more of these things, not humanitarian puff pieces. He wants her back in the Hulk's backyard, a place she's not willing to go right now, a place that has her shook to her core. And now that there's been another Hulk sighting, in the last place the Hulk was seen by public eyes, Betty Ross's house. The thing is, no one has really seen anything. Betty was shot in the head and thought dead, until she wasn't because her corpse was gone, and no one has seen anything. Minus a few red feathers that are too weird to belong to anything normal. That's because the Harpy is back, baby! And while Jackie is snooping around at night, she runs afoul of Betty's newest form, a perfect mix of the old and the new. Her Gamma Harpy form that debuted back in Incredible Hulk number 168, and her Red She-Hulk form that debuted back in Hulk Volume 2, number 15. She doesn't have all of her faculties as she did when she was the Red She-Hulk or even the Harpy. She's become a creature now. Angry, confused, but not illogical. She blames Banner for this, what she is now, but she also realizes she's equally to blame for a lot of their troubles throughout the years. But she also realizes Jackie has seen the truth, and together they track down Hulk. But to what end? Because when they arrive in Reno at the hotel where Hulk and Abomination are having a one-sided ass-whipping contest, and Betty, now a Red She-Hulk Harpy, or Red Harpy, or whatever, that's probably what we're gonna go with, Red Harpy, she sees Fortian's mercs killing innocents to cover up their involvement. Because for the first time in this run, Fortian is sending in an asset to attack Hulk in a populated area. He's become so obsessed with killing the Hulk that he doesn't care anymore if innocent people die. Not that I think he even really cared before, he just didn't want to draw attention to himself, but now he don't give a f. They've killed anyone who has seen anything, including an employee of the hotel Hulk and Abomination are fighting outside of, and Red Harpy has no compunctions about handing them a receipt for that innocent life. With impunity, she rips them to shreds, breaks them, tears them apart. You'd think Jackie would be used to this by now, but she's not. She doesn't understand why Betty couldn't have simply disarmed them, but Betty saw what this was. Mercs, without call signs or markings. They were there to not be seen or recognized and kill whoever saw them. But Betty calls her out. She's been following Hulk since day one, trying to break the story, but she doesn't want to get her hands dirty. She doesn't want to see the dirty work. She just wants to report it, but not experience it. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. And at the end of the day, Betty doesn't harm innocent people. She only harms those who harm innocents. She even proves as much when she finds a bellhop praying in a corner, hoping to not be found. But only one thing fuels her even more: her memories of Bruce and the Hulk. And most of them are not good. And when she finally finds Hulk with both his eyes, arms, and legs melted off, and Abomination lurking over and preparing to finish him off, Fortean couldn't be more impressed, it seems. He had a crush on Betty back in the day, but now the only thing he seems interested in is what she's capable of doing, and what her next move will be. Which is, oddly enough, to rip, punch, claw, and tear into the Immortal Hulk's chest until she's able to snatch his still beating heart out and watch him die. Something that sends him back to the realm beyond the green door. And this is where Brian Banner, his father, is waiting for him. Something that, by Brian's account, has happened on dozens of occasions, but Bruce never remembers it. And Brian makes a reveal to Banner that technically we, the reader, and Devil Hulk himself kind of learned over the course of the last 2 volumes of this series, that gamma radiation is more or less another form of magic. All of this before seeing his mother in the below place, something that surprises him to no end, but is old hat for his father. That said, Bruce's visit to the below place is short-lived because he's alive again and already back in the fight and ready to turn the Abomination inside out. You see, Betty didn't kill Hulk for him to stay dead. It's because she knew that if Hulk died, Abomination would stop attacking him and focus on a new target, which is exactly what he did, giving Hulk time to regenerate his lost limbs and his eyes, because when Hulk dies, even in Hulk form, it's an opportunity for his body to do a hard reset, which further accelerates his healing capabilities. Healing capabilities that were already pretty freakishly fast and scary to begin with. And with Betty ripping out Abomination's stomach, he won't be melting anything else anytime soon. And Hulk and Red Harpy patch things up. Mostly. As much as a conversation fresh after a fight while in gamma mutate form can possibly square anything away. You know, because comic books. And with Abomination defeated, for now, Fortean has a new weapon he unleashes: War Wagon 1 and War Wagon 2. War-class battlecrafts capable of firing incendiary rounds, lasers, artificial light, and a laundry list of other things that would make life difficult for a gamma mutate. Which seems kind of odd considering the fact that if all his other assets did work, I don't know what made General Fortean think that a couple of aircraft with a bunch of fancy weaponry was actually going to stop the Hulk when neither the Sasquatch, the Avengers, a red hulked out absorbing man, Brian Banner and the One Below All with home field advantage, or even this new Abomination. If these people couldn't cut the mustard, what made him think 2 rinky-dink ass warships were gonna do any different? Either way, Red Harpy, flying overhead with the Abomination who has recently woken up, latched onto her and trying to snap her neck, she's able to rip Abomination's chest open, causing him to let go and crash into War Wagon 2, obliterating it as the Immortal One reaches all the way back to Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, and Hulk smashes the out of it, sending what's left of it flying into War Wagon 1. And in the fallout of the Reno attack, they find Abomination's body, and they rip Rick Jones out of it, who seems to still be alive. And before Gamma Flight shows up with a fully recovered Doc Samson in tow, Samson seems to want to stop Devil Hulk from completing the mission he learned about in the last volume, his desire to end the human world. But for now, he seems content to let them go.
But wait! There's more!
Since the story began, we've always gotten an aside story, even more so since the Green Door story arc, a story about two diametrically opposed forces, specifically, and I'm gonna butcher these names, Gebura and Golachab, whom are used as examples of the divide between light and darkness, good and evil, man and monster. It seems like this takes place at the end of all things, because somewhere out in the reaches of space, there's only one piece of rock left of what is presumably the Earth, as Banner, withered and rotting, stands over what is presumably Mr. Immortal's corpse. And now, at this moment, Bruce has been visited by the Metatron, the voice of God, a character in Marvel Comics based on the biblical angel of the same name, but also a character who has been mentioned in Marvel Comics since 1995, but only now has made his first actual appearance in Immortal Hulk number 20. And Metatron asked a simple question. At the end of all things, what will you become? But anyways, that said, I kind of felt like, man, this volume, man, it had everything. It had the right amounts of action, the right amounts of horror, body horror especially, and it really told a very compelling story, and it really laid the seeds out for a lot of things to come in the next volume, which has already started. I really gotta admit that when I got to this part of the book, when I got to this very last scene, I was left kind of baffled, because at the end of it all, I didn't realize who it was he was talking to until I got to the final page, and even then, I was still kind of left wondering, because I wasn't even sure if this was just the title of the book, or if this was the one above all. It was hard to tell, I'll admit that, but I will say that I really enjoyed this book, I really enjoyed this volume. Immortal Hulk continues to be one of the best books in Marvel's stable right now, alongside Venom, as well as a plethora of other books. Marvel really actually has had a really good stable of books in the last year or so, especially after Marvel Fresh Start, which is really weird when you consider how much flack Marvel caught for doing this whole Marvel Fresh Start initiative, soft rebooting characters to help better onboard new readers to characters that have been around for decades. People lambasted Marvel for this. I remember people were cooking Marvel shit to no end about this, and at the end of the day, this has actually been very successful. We have gotten a lot of really good books out of this, but the comic book fandom will never eat crow over this. All people will remember is how awful an idea it was, but never how good the result actually turned out to be, because that's the way our history works now. But anyways, let me know what you think about Immortal Hulk Volume 4, Abomination by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. Sound off in the comments. So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in a buck, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus Ultra!